you stupid reviewer! This camera is for pros, you're supposed to use manual mode! Go back to your stupid iPhone! Fine, I will use manual mode! So you're wondering, what's the best smartphone camera? Sony will have you believe that it's the brand new Xperia 1 Mark V. Some reviewers will tell you, nah, not exactly. And the comments below those reviews will tell you, but it is, the reviewer needs to go back to the iPhone. I'm here to tell you the truth. The way I see it. Is this the best phone camera right now? Or is it this one? Or is it the one we're shooting with right now? This is the brand new Xperia 1 Mark V. What's special about it? Well, if you want to be somebody in this Apple-Samsung dominated smartphone world, you need to set yourself apart. So Sony leaned in heavily on its most popular product category. No, not the PlayStation, the cameras! The big Sony Alpha cameras are considered by many to be the best ones for video recording. The Sony sensors for smartphone cameras are used by basically everybody who makes smartphones.
So Sony goes all in. It uses its own sensors and its own software to give you a camera experience within a smartphone.
And this is what I will focus on. I want to hear about the cameras! Okay, let's just go quickly through the smartphone first. Just by looking at it, you'd be forgiven to think, huh, it looks like the old one. In fact, you've been bamboozled. The one I'm waving in front of your faces right now is the old Xperia 1 Mark IV. Sorry, we're using the Mark V to actually record this video here. Sony changes very little about its design year on year, but to me that's fine, I quite like it. The frame now has this ribbed design, which we last saw with the Xperia Pro I. It makes it easier to grip the phone. And the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 back has this new texture that kind of makes it feel like a camera grip.
It is quite light, lighter than a Galaxy S23 Plus or an iPhone 14 Plus, definitely lighter than their Ultra or Pro variants.
And this does matter, I already dropped the phone on concrete. Sony, I am sorry. And it survived with just a minor dent and scuff. Phew! Needless to say, it has the newest and fastest processor, 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage and a micro SD card slot, which makes it easier to use as a camera. And oh my god, is that a headphone jack? The OLED display has a 4K resolution and a 21:9 aspect ratio. You know, like a cinema screen by default, it's a bit cold and oversaturated, but in typical Sony style, you have extended controls over that, and I can say that the screen looks lovely. It has a 120Hz refresh rate for super smooth animations, and Sony does put an emphasis on how good this phone is for gaming, though with this battery life...
Get to the camera already!
Okay, the cameras, I will talk about the cameras. Nothing says this phone is built for camera fans as the fact that it has not one, not two, but 3 apps for the camera. What do they all do? Mostly the same stuff, but they each have some exclusive option and a different UI design that makes them useful for particular projects. For example, the Cinema Pro app, which we're using to shoot right now, has the aspect ratios and the cinematic filters and the FPS control and the manual focus tracking for your epic cinema shots. This is the mode you use to record HDR video or high-quality slow motion. It does not support digital zooming at all, it only switches between the physical lenses of the phone. This is the mode I am using to record right now. Interestingly enough, it does not support the external monitor accessory for vlogging, which is a pain because I don't see what I'm doing.
And the Video Pro app is more laid out for vlog style format interviews with the huge viewfinder and a different layout of the controls. By the way, it's obedience exam day. Wish us luck.
You can also set up Video Pro for direct streaming to Twitch or YouTube, and you can even see your chat box within the viewfinder, which is pretty cool for live streamers. By the way, we passed the exam. Here's some B-roll from that. I imagine most people who want to record video will stick to the Video Pro app. It has the most common options at the tip of your fingers, it has stronger stabilization for when you're on foot, and it allows for smooth digital zoom. Also, it supports the external monitor accessory, which helps for selfie videos. Is it confusing? Yes, especially since Sony loves to still have a menu button right next to another menu button, which is a different menu. But props given where props are due. We finally have focus peaking, and I love playing with manual focus. Which leads me to the third app, the Camera Pro, which is basically your app for photos. Now, if you are already panicking at all the options, take a breath. Opening the Camera Pro app in basic mode Kinda works like any other smartphone's camera app. Simple to use with most common options you will need available on tap. Hey, did Sony just call me basic? Anyway, how are the photos? Well, let's take a walk. Photos taken with the Xperia 1 Mark V are pretty good. It has very nice colors and a balance between sharpening and noise reduction, which sometimes looks a bit jagged and washed out, other times looks right on point. It has a pretty wide dynamic range, but not the widest we've seen. For example, take a look at this portrait taken with the Xperia 1 Mark V and then with the iPhone 14 Pro. The white hairs on the dog's forehead get blown out on the Xperia, so side by side you can see that it looks a bit washed out. Also, the bokeh of the Xperia is very weak and non-convincing, while the iPhone pulled out a very lush, creamy look here. But that got me thinking, do people still use portrait mode in 2023 or is it old news by now? I'm curious, let me know in the comments below. Or this photo of the side of a church. On its own, the Xperia picture looks pretty good. When you compare it to an iPhone 14 Pro shot, you can see that the Xperia tamed the highlights a bit too much and its noise reduction totally washed out the texture of the old stone.
You stupid reviewer! This camera is for pros! You're supposed to use manual mode! Go back to your stupid iPhone! Fine, I will use manual mode!
In fact, I took the Xperia 1 Mark V into the studio while we were doing product shots for another comparison. We set up our Pro Studio lighting, I opened up manual mode, I set up exposure to the best of my ability. This is the picture I got. Yeah? Good? Yeah? Then I took the stupid iPhone 14 for stupid people, just opened up the camera in auto, snap, and I got this picture. Here's the comparison. Editor, please zoom in on the texture of the Motorola phone. But you're supposed to export RAW photos and then edit them manually in Lightroom. Of course. Here's a picture with the Sony's Auto mode with HDR, and here's a RAW photo of the same scene that I edited. You know what? Fine, not bad. I managed to get much better dynamics, tame the highlights, bring up the shadows, and I got to choose exactly how much noise reduction and sharpening I want in there. I just had to export the photo in RAW and edit it like for 10 or 15 minutes. Look, I'm not trashing the phone. In fact, its photos and definitely its videos look pretty good. They may not be the best, but you've got a lot of tools and lenses to work with and enjoy. The Xperia 1 is the only phone in the market that has an actual variable zoom lens. This means that its telephoto lens physically moves to give you actual optical zoom between 3.5 and 5.2x. Is it better than the digital zoom of the competitors? Not exactly, but it's not much worse either. And it's fun. What happened to fun? The price of this phone. More on that later. See this photo? The only way I could take this is if I zoomed in. If I walked up to the statue, I wouldn't be able to capture the god rays coming through the tree crown there. So I just used the Xperia's optical zoom and edited the RAW photo to mask some of the noise. Also, when I say that this is great for video, I am not kidding. The eye tracking autofocus on this thing is phenomenal. Wanna see? Look at me.
Look at me. I am the captain now.
Get it? Because I... And content creators who want to start their little product channel can activate product review mode, so the camera will autofocus on an object when you wave it in front of the lens, and when you move it away, boom, it's back to your face. So would I recommend this phone?
Battery life!
Sorry,
You were going to talk about battery life!
Oh. Well, it's bad. Video streaming, you get like 6.5 hours of YouTube. Gaming, less than 6 hours. Even in my daily use of the device, I would notice downward spikes for maybe enjoying the camera a bit too much or spending too much time on YouTube. So what do I think about this phone? Well, I think it costs $1,400 or euro, depending on where you are. I like it, I do use it, but this is what I do. I like stuff and then I criticize it too much. Can I recommend it? Let's look at pros and cons. Pros: it has a great design, it's light, it's very nice to use. It has a fantastic screen, headphone jack, micro SD card slot. In 2023 these are pluses. And the manual cameras are really fun, especially when you want to really get the picture the way you want it to be. For cons: one, if you don't like tinkering with the camera, you can get the same quality or better quality photos with the high-class competitors in auto mode. If you're wondering how exactly is that a con, I'm gonna say con number 2. $1,400. Then we have the subpar battery life. Sorry. And there are some annoying software bugs. For example, sometimes my back button wouldn't work, sometimes the entire touch screen would not work.
If anyone out there gets this bug, I fixed it by disabling the always on display and the tap to wake function, and now it's gone, so $1,400. Anyway, here's another cool video about the latest Xiaomi phone, which has an insane camera. And if you don't hate me too much already, drop a like and a sub to help us out. Thanks for watching. Bye!